I'm Delusion Dispeller, continuing on with my story of being married to the narcissist. Um, Not married to him anymore. The ex-husband was a narcissist. Okay, now some of these things are going to kind of skip around because I'm not that great at arranging things on a timeline. So forgive me if you're sitting there thinking, well, this must have happened after that, because I'm not really that great at that kind of thing. So anyways, I'm just going to put some random facts out here. I wasn't a good house cleaner. So my ex-husband would come in and he'd clean the house, the apartment, all the while berating me, saying things like, there, see, it doesn't take much to clean. Now why can't you do it like this? All these women in this house and none of you can keep the house clean? What's the matter with you? I felt belittled like a child. A lot of times he'd tell me about how great his mother and his sister could clean a house and how I should learn from them, and that he couldn't believe I never learned to clean. He was never the romantic type of person, and kisses were usually given when people he was envious of were watching us. For instance, years later, when I asked him why he kissed me when we were at his friend's house when we were engaged, and he was real romantic, we were against a tree, and he just kind of like really romantically kissed me. But he didn't kiss me like that years later in my marriage, and I was like, why? Why was it like that then, and now you hardly even barely look me in the eye, let alone kiss me? And his response was, oh, the reason I did that back then was I just wanted them to know that I had what they had, that I had a lady in my life too. See, he worked for a factory, and most of the guys he worked with either were married or had girlfriends. So I was basically like this trophy, like, haha, I have one too now. And that was why he kissed me, and why he made sure that his friend was watching. I was his prize, and he won me, so whoop-de-doo for him. My ex-husband quit his job one day and told me that we were going to become millionaires doing home-based business. We started making wood crafts, face painting at shows, dragging our children all around with us to sit for hours and hours at bazaars and craft shows in smoky environments before smoking became illegal, outdoors in very hot temperatures. When it was hot out and the children would cry, my ex-husband would ignore them, or he'd give them money to go run off wherever, buy food and ride rides. And since I was face painting, I couldn't say, no, I don't want the kids going off by themselves, because I had to be there to face paint and make the money. And if I tried to say, look, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to go with the kids, well, don't you want to make money? Come on, you need to do this. This is our job. The kids will be fine. And I, for some reason, could convince myself to allow my children to run off on their own. I'm still mad at myself for it. I can't change it, but it's another one of those things that the narcissist makes you feel like you're a bad person if you don't just let him call the shots. This was not narcissistic per se, but it was also not balanced, dragging children around everywhere to spend weekends in situations that their young bodies could not handle, sometimes without food for a long, long time. It wasn't good. It was not good at all. When I started doing home-based businesses, selling health products, and I didn't become a millionaire and I didn't bring in tons of money, my ex-husband would come in and put me down and tell me I wasn't working hard enough, and that I spent too much time online chatting with friends and not enough on the business. So it was my fault that the businesses didn't work and make us rich, and that no amount of effort was ever good enough and rarely appreciated by him. That's how I felt. Nothing I did was ever good enough. If he wanted to join the next business that came along and I was resistant, he would say, okay, did you hear that story about the guy whose wife wouldn't support him when he wanted to do the business? He became a millionaire and she divorced him, and he had all this money and she had nothing. You know, so he would guilt me into things all the time. Guilt trip, guilt trip. My ex-husband grew up in a family of many children. Well, 6 children, I guess. Although the 6 didn't come along till the other ones were quite grown up. He saw his, as I call them, sperm donors, because he sure as heck was not a father. He was an evil, nasty, psychotic idiot. who harmed and tortured and killed animals in front of my ex-husband when he was a little boy and made him join in. He even harmed and killed his pets. My ex-husband learned to find it amusing, or else he just learned to turn it off. Any feelings of remorse over it or any sadness about seeing his pets killed. And that filtered into, or leaked into his later life. Stay tuned, I will be right back with more.